This is Sonia Schreier-Norris, Project Coordinator for Ploud at the Library of Michigan. Thank you for joining me for a short Ploud-specific tutorial on collections, which allow you to bring together pages or events from different places on your site and display them together neatly. For this example, I'm going to use calendar events. I talk about adding events to the Ploud calendar in depth at mishlibrary.org under Basic Functionality. I'll cover it briefly here. Here's an example of a collection. It brings out 3 events from the calendar and displays them on the same page. This is for a winter programming series. You can display as many events as you choose. You can also use collections to bring together pages, but for today's example, we're going to use calendar events. The process is the same. A collection will have a summary, just like a page, and then the items in the collection, starting with their title, and in this case, the date and time, followed by the event summary. In this example, I've added a lead image to the event, which displays in the event as well as on the collection. I'm going to click on Board Games Battle Royale and show you what that looks like. Here's the event that's being pulled into the collection. Let's click on the Edit tab and take a deeper look. At the top of the screen, we have the ordinary things that make up an event, like title, summary, and event start and end time. There is one thing that you may not have used before, even if you're experienced with your calendar. That's the categorization feature. Let's click on that. Here, under categorization, is a tags field. This allows you to name a group of events with any tag you like and then pull them together in a collection. In this example, I've chosen the word adult for adult winter programming. Let's go back to the default view of the event and scroll to the bottom of the record. Here you'll see something you may have overlooked, but that is super handy. That's the lead image feature. You can upload an image here, change it later if you wish, as well as caption it. This is where you can put an image that will appear both in the event record as well as a thumbnail in your collection. If you don't have a budget for images but need high-quality graphics for your site, check out the resources at mishlibrary.org. So you ask, what's the magic step to get us from individual tagged events with lead images to snazzy-looking collections? I'm glad you asked. We're going to walk through it step by step with a fresh example. For this example, we're going to pull days that the library is going to be closed out of the calendar. I've decided I want this to display under News and Events. My first step is to go to my root folder contents in my Tools menu. Then I click on News and Events and use the drop-down to add a new subfolder. I'll title it Days the Library Will Be Closed and include a summary. Now I have the shell. I just need the content. I'll get the content from my calendar. I've seeded the calendar with a few upcoming closures, but I'll walk you through adding a closure for Thanksgiving and a staff in-service day so you see exactly what it looks like, and then we'll create the collection. I'm going to go right to data entry. If you need help with how to add calendar events, check out that video under Basic Functionality at mishlibrary.org. I want to point out that I've been super clear about the title because it will appear in large type on the collection page. And I've included a summary so patrons can't miss the fact that the date range is for 2 days. The dates on the collections page are in a smaller font. And I've checked whole day. I'm going to scroll to the bottom where I've uploaded a lead image. I did that by simply clicking on Choose File and uploading the image. Now let's scroll back up and click on Categorization. So, what you care about on the Categorization tab is the tag field. You can tag an event anything you like. I'm going to tag this one Closed. You can see my typing there. Once I have at least 3 characters, the system will suggest the word as a tag. I select it and the appearance changes slightly. This is when you know you have successfully tagged the event. Go ahead and save. There's one more thing I need to do so that events will automatically fall off both the calendar and the collection I'm creating, and that is set an expiration date. If I don't set an expiration date, my other option is to come in and remove the tag. You can do it either way. Setting an expiration date is very simple. Just go to Dates, and then put in when you want it to expire and click Save. As a note, it will still appear for you in the collection when you are logged in, but it won't appear for patrons after the expiration date. This is an example of an event for a staff in-service day. We're going to do just one thing a little bit differently so I can show you something. Let's go to Categorization and tag this event. This time, I'm going to tag it Closed again, but with an uppercase C, because it can be hard to remember exactly how you've tagged previous events. I'll show you how that plays out in just a moment. Again, I'm going to go to Dates and enter an expiration date, so this falls off my list once the date has passed. Now we're going to go back to our subfolder called Days the Library Will Be Closed, which, if you remember, we put in News and Events, and add the collection. Now we're going to use the Add New menu to add a collection. It's the same process as adding an event, a page, a link, or anything else in Ploud. First, we take care of the very normal tasks of adding a title and a summary. Then we're going to scroll down a little and take a look at criteria and sorting. First, let's open up the Criteria drop-down menu. When you open up Criteria, you get a range of options. There are lots of ways that you can create a collection. The one I like best is by tagging, because it offers you a great deal of control. You've either tagged an item or you haven't. If you have, it will appear in your collection. If you haven't, it won't. So go ahead and select a tag. Once you've selected a tag, a new box will open up. If you put your cursor in it, every tag you've ever created on the site will appear for you to choose from. As you can see, both versions of Closed, one with a capital C and one without, are available to me. I'm going to choose both. And now this is what the screen will look like. Next, I choose to select my sorting criteria, and I'm going to choose Event Start Date, as these are events and I want them to appear in the order in which they are going to occur. Now that I've selected my criteria, which are the tags reading Closed, and my sorting preferences, which are by Event Start Date, I can see a preview of how my events are going to display. Don't worry, they'll be prettier than this on the page. Then I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click Save. Finally, we get to view our collection. This is the data in one type of display. We're going to change the display type so we get an attractive page with the lead images that we added. I open up my display drop-down menu and select Summary View. Now I have an attractive collection that lists the upcoming days the library will be closed. There's just a couple of quick steps left, and this will be perfect. If I go back to the drop-down menu and navigate to this subfolder, I'll see that I need to change this date from private to published so my patrons can view this collection. And finally, I need to change the display. The display option I want is Select a Content Item as Default View. And then the option I'm presented with is the collection I just created. You can tell it's a collection because of the two dog-eared pages that make up the icon beside the title. Once I've saved it, this is the page I'll get. If you scroll down, you'll see Thanksgiving. Those are collections in a nutshell. I think they're pretty swift. I like the way they look, and I like the way they work. It makes bringing together items such as summer reading events, book sales, programming for a specific audience, book club dates, and a whole host of other things very simple. It means your patrons don't have to go hunting around on your calendar. Don't be put off by all the steps. You'll get used to them quickly, and you'll know right away if you missed something, because you know what you want your collection to look like in the end. It's worth learning how to do this for your site. On a last note, collections can be used in conjunction with cover pages. Those are the drag and drop page layouts. I'll show an example of that in the cover pages video at mishlibrary.org. That concludes this video on collections for Ploud. I hope you've discovered some takeaways that you can apply to your own site. This project was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Have a great day.